Hi, I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where I break down all the goals scored in the Premier League. And tonight we're doing West Ham against Brentford, and I use my over 20 plus years coaching experience to give you different insights and tell you what's really going on in the game of football. Not what these other muppets doing, because they've got no idea, like Gary Neville. I'm going to have a video coming out about why ex-pros are complete nut morons and you shouldn't hire them to cut your grass. I'm trying to bring that out because of the amount of stupid things that they say, and people don't call them out on it, and it needs to be said more and more. They just waffle all the time. Speaking about waffling, that's what I'm doing right now. Let's get into the game a little bit here. So, West Ham, Tony Card, if you ever want to pick up a coaching book, I don't know if you can still get his book now. Tony Card is a great coaching book, which you can elaborate and build many systems on. So people talk about third man running drills and third man stuff, right? So this is the third man running. So he would have been the guy, well, if you're running the drill, right? He's passed it into him, he's passing it into another, and he's going to pass it to the third man. Now, here's the interesting thing when you're running coaching patterns and coaching drills. You don't follow the coaching pattern and the drill in the game. It's not what it's about. It's about giving so many different options that you accidentally play all of these passing patterns. Arsene Wenger used to talk about it years ago about, well, I run these patterns and then the patterns happen in the game. Well, yeah, they do, because they appear naturally as the game progresses. And that's what's happening here. The ball gets passed in and no one's close enough here, even though there's 1, 2, 3 players when this pass comes in. Let's watch this as it comes in here. Bosch comes in. No one's close enough. They're not really tracking the runner and understanding what's going on here because there's another pattern you can do to defend the third man running drill off the ball, which they don't understand. So that's what's happening here, and that's why you can see this absolute massive pocket of space down here on the sideline for this wee man to get the ball. So let's just move that forward just a little bit. Bosch, 1, 2, 3. And now we're seeing he's now being able to get the ball into this channel here and no one's there to challenge him. I have to stop it so much because I'm currently under another copyright strike because, you know, the Premier League gets mad if you talk over their videos and point out why they're... I can't even say it because they'll probably hit me again. Yeah. But as you can see, when this goes down here, look at the body position of these guys. This guy here is facing this stand. That's where he's facing. That's where he's defending. Remember, the way you're facing is the way you're playing. Oh, what a shock. You've probably heard that. Bad coaches say play the way you face. They are terrible coaches. The minute you say that, laugh at them and never listen to them again. What you want to do is face the way that you want to play. Then you're always doing the right thing. Face the way you want to play. This defender doesn't want to play to the crowd, so he shouldn't be facing that way. Yet he is. He's facing a completely different direction. So what ends up happening is when this ball comes in here, you go, oh yeah, but Cash, he's got the right body shape to deal with this ball because it's going out into the channel. If he's facing this way, he would be on the front foot and he can step in and win the tackle and move forward. But it's not. So let's look what happens as this ball comes forward. Bosch, as it comes, look where he's running now. He can't see the player behind him. Neither can his mate. Look at both these players. 1, he's facing that way. 2, he's facing that way. 3 is the player that's completely and utterly unmarked. That's why it's so bad. And it's not just these guys. It is so proliferant in the Premier League. It is unbelievable how bad the defending is getting. Because, again, coaches don't know. If you think coaches are really good and they do all these courses and they know, I'm telling you, they don't. Because otherwise that would never happen at the highest level in football. And it is. So let's just move it forward. Next thing we know, this little wee man gets a touch. Bosch gets it out of his feet. He actually does a thing where I try to explaining it. So imagine there's 1, 2 feet there. There's the body. So that's where the pass has come in. He's shifting it, but he's still able to strike it with the other foot. Yeah, it's quite a nice little setup touch. Bosch, it's called Dosh, and he smashes it. He actually kind of well, my favourite strike of what I used to do when I'm hitting the ball was just with the outside of my foot, so it goes straight, but it has a little bit of curl at the end of it. I'm going to see if I can find another angle, because he does exactly the same thing. I don't know if you, when you play, you do a similar thing like me and a lot of my friends do, trying to smash the ball with the outside of their foot, because, you know, that's cultured. We used to do this all the time, but that's what he's doing here. It's not necessarily a good clean strike, but it's perfect, and it goes through. If you have a watch, see how he comes across it, and he kind of is. The key is the way his leg moves as well. So it goes around. It's really interesting. If you want to know the ins and outs of it, try teaching someone under the age of, well, I don't know, maybe under the age of 8 of hitting the ball with the outside of the foot, because it's so unnatural. But the minute they see it and They can copy it all day. And that's what this guy's done there. He smashed it, and it's gone straight into the bottom corner of the net box. Let's get on to the next goal. So there's a bit of a problem with this because I want to show you this free flowing and I'll just get hit. So I'm just going to try to show you. This is a classic example of what a third man running drill, which is classic West Ham, does. So we've got number 1 on the ball here. He's going to be number 1. This guy's going to be number 2. Oh, that 2 is brilliant, Cash. Oh, we're so good at drawing. This guy's number 3. Okay, so as I move it on, we're going to relate to these 3 players as we go. 1 gives to 2, 2 gives to 3, 3 gives back to 1. Let's see if that works out. That is the perfect example. You know, if you watch Total Football in Ajax did the exact same thing as this. There's only a slight difference. They start with the left and right backs as 1 and 2, and they pass, from the left back, from the left or right back into the midfield, up to that guy. His guy's doing an overlap, and it gets played onto it. It's a very, very similar thing. So let's just move it forward. So this is a perfect example. Let's just highlight those players again. This is number 1, Bosh. This is number 2. Oh, it's so good at drawing that time. And this is number 3. So all we can see 1's passed into 2, and now 2's looking to pass into 3. Now, here's the other thing when you're running these passing patterns or you're trying to coach these. What normally people would say is you've passed it to 2, overlap 2. Now, I'll lend you some secret source of one of my secret coaching books. I've overlapped the player or overlapped the space because it's the same thing and that you're getting the same advantage from doing it. So he doesn't want to overlap the player because this player is clearly going to be doing that. So he wants to overlap the space. Well, it's not really space, but that's where he's looking for. He's looking to go down the middle because he really can't go on the outside here. Right, so let's move that forward. Again, I apologise for not being able to free flow the game just because I'm just going to get in too much trouble. So again, let's highlight the players. There's number 1, Dosh. There's number 2, Dosh. And there's number 3, Dosh. So now number 3's got the ball. Where's he going to play it? He needs to play it back to number 1. And none of these players have understood this, right? This is just the Premier League. None of these players are even watching what's going on. They're just all, again, look at where they're all facing. He is facing that way. He is facing that way. He is facing that way towards the ball. He is facing that way. He is facing that way. Look at how poor this is. Look, just look at it. Yeah, it's so poor, it's unbelievable. No one is even tracking right. So Bowen's just scored on you. You know he's their danger man, and no one is tracking him. Look, 1, 2 players here are focused on trying to win the ball. Look at them, both of their eyes focused on here. No one is looking around to see where this ball's going to go next. And of course, where does it go next? 1, 2, straight to the player behind him, and it's in the bottom corner. That is absolutely shocking that they've not only seen that passing pattern happen down through the middle of the field, that they couldn't identify it and defend against it. Terrible. Okay, we're looking at the first Brentford goal here. Now, one of the main reasons the youth players, because you shouldn't play small-sided games with the youth. Don't ever listen to any of those idiots that tell you that. The only purpose you do that is because they don't understand about making one line bigger than the next line. What does that mean? Right, so if you've got a defensive line, you add a player to the midfield line. If you've got a midfield line, you add a player to the attacking line. That's the purpose of playing small-sided games. Other than that, if you listen to any of these idiots and these coaching qualifications, they'll tell you it's about getting more touches. If you want more touches, have more training sessions. The point of the game is to learn the game. It's 11v11, play it. And you can see here, these guys are playing too many small-sided games because what's happened here on this transition is they haven't identified that area there. And I know this is going on. You're going, oh, but Cash, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, I know, because you've not coached as much as me. And what's happened is this guy's being lazy because he can afford to, because he's playing on a smaller field. And when you're on the bigger field, the space is bigger, and he's not, compensating. That's the word I'm looking for. Compensating for the bigger space. He's just being lazy. Well, he's not, because he's playing on smaller fields, and he's doing it in training games, and they're not doing it correctly. So what's happened here is this massive space has been compromised, and they've got time to deal with it because the ball's come up and stopped it here, and now no one is tracking this runner. Okay, see this runner here? I'm drawing him a little bit too much. See this runner here? Well, he's on the blind side of him. He isn't trying to get back because he's not behind the ball. Remember that. If you are trying to get back, you be behind the ball, not stood where he is. Terrible. So when we move this forward, we see this little ball, boomsh. Can you see how fast this runner's gone? Now you can see how exposed it is. Now you can see that this guy has broken the line. He's joined the attack. So he's joined his forward line, and it's such an easy pass in. Now, to be honest, he's done a nice little turn here, and this is where it gets really, really interesting. It's when he... see, when I saw this happening in real time, I immediately thought, oh, okay, he's given it to this guy here. See this runner? You can see him plain as day. coming. Easy to pass it to him, but that's not what happens, okay? Now, when we move this forward a bit here, I'm going to show you a goal in a second, but if you've played a lot of football, you'll know exactly what I'm about to say. So this guy on the ball here has a look at this guy who's clearly in a better position, which he is. This guy here is clearly in a better position. So if you lay the ball to him, because these defenders are going back here, he gets to run on and smash it in the goal. This guy's marked by 2 players and you give it to him. The reason that you're giving it to him is because this player here is absolutely terrible. You're giving it to him because you trust him. And if you don't think that's a thing in football, you haven't played enough football. So this guy clearly trusts Mopai and he's playing it to him. Whoever this character is there, he doesn't trust him and he's not giving him the football. Happens all the time. You'll hear it like in the clubhouse afterwards as well. I'm always free and no one ever passes me the ball. Yeah, because you're rubbish. We don't want to tell you because we don't want to lose that little minute thread of confidence that you do have. But that does happen in football. It's actually a little bit of a cultured pass as well. What he does very well with this pass is he gets it away on the foot for Mopai to strike the ball. He puts it on this side of him and away from the defender, which makes his run, Mopai's run, curve ever so slightly for him to strike it. And he does kind of slip. Now, also, there's one other thing that you can spot. The keeper's off his line by an extra 1, maybe 2 feet too much. Otherwise, he's getting this. If he stays on his line, I get why he's come, because he thinks this guy's going to take a touch and challenge. Yeah, fine. Because I would probably totally agree with you there. But for some reason, he's had one little shot, he scuffed it, bosh, and it's gone above the keeper. Keeper's not getting beat if he's back here on his line. He is, because he's come up, because he thinks he's going to go round the player. Both have kind of slipped over, and it's gone into the net box. Again, this is why everyone thinks VAR is a joke. That's a foul. He's hit him in the back with his shoulder. The ball's nowhere near him. Look, is the ball anywhere near these 2 football players? No, it's not. There they are. There's the ball over there. I'll even draw a nice big arrow so you can see it. He's put his shoulder into the back of that guy. If VAR's a real thing, that's a penalty. VAR's not a real thing, so that's not a penalty. That's a foul anywhere else on the field if somebody does that. Let's watch it as he goes down. Bosh. It's not, look, extends his arm, pushes his arm through him, and throws him to the ground. That's a penalty. Like, all day long, that's a penalty. The ball's nowhere near him. Not given. Carry on. Because you know what? We aren't corrupt, we're just incompetent. No, they're not incompetent. They're the other one. Before we start this and show you the goal, oh, by the way, comments like that are the reason I'm getting copyright strike, pointing out things that I shouldn't be pointing out, and reasons why. Do you see this Muppet putting his arm up? Well, of course, Cash's rule, someone's put their arm up, and the next 15 seconds, someone is going to score because, yeah, that's what happens. So let's have a look. Does someone score in the next 15 seconds? Well, before this cross comes in, let's have a quick look and analyse what's going on. Back post. Are we covered? Yes. 1v1 getting marked. Is anyone marking the guy here? No, because this guy is facing his mum and dad in the crowd. What about this centre-back? Oh, he's looking at his mum and dad in the crowd. Is there anyone here for him to defend? No, but apparently that's where he's looking. Where's this midfielder looking? Oh, he's looking at the corner flag. Good job, mate. Where's your shoulders? There. Oh, where are you looking? Oh, you're looking at the corner flag too. Hoping that the ball's... Oh, really? There's a guy, if anyone can spot him, he's right there in the middle of all of you. What are you looking at? Oh, you're looking at the ball. Why are you looking at the ball? There's 1, 2 players there, and you're staring at the ball as well. Yeah, it's not like... Yeah, you can't make this up. I mean, it's terrible. When the ball comes in, look, he's completely unmarked. 1, 2, 3, 4 players, because they're all ball watching, they're all staring at the ball, and all, more importantly, all their body shape is wrong. That's the most important thing. They can stare at the ball, but as long as their body shape's right and they can stare at the player, so when the cross comes in, they can make a challenge. No such luck. Bosh, in it goes. Tiny little wee man gets himself a goal. Everyone's cheering. These guys are all shocked because they didn't even know he was on the field. They were all too busy staring at the football. Let's get on to the next goal. Okay, not much has really happened. It's just standard football. What's happened is they've pushed down the line. Okay, so let's have a little think about what's happened. They've gone down the line. We've got 3 players trying to deal with 1, getting the cross in. We've got 1, 2, 3 players unmarked. We've got 3, 4, 5 not marking anyone. So pretty much every single West Ham player is unmarked, and every single Brentford player is not marking anybody or even close to any of them. Now remember, a cross is coming in. If you want to be a good centre midfielder, if you're like I don't like this attacking or defensive midfielder. Just a good midfielder. Hang around up here near the D. This is the important area. If you hang up round here, all sorts of good things will happen to you, and you will get the ball. So When this ball comes across here from the Dosh, here we go, he's going to header it. There's 1, 2, 3 players here. He's under no pressure whatsoever. He can bring the ball down, he can head it to his keeper, he can have a shout. Nah. What he does is he knocks it straight to where you don't want it to go. There's not a single Brentford player there. He's just headed it and panicked because there's no one giving him a shout. There's no leaders. The keeper's not done a shout, just knock it back to him, which he's more than capable of doing. None of that has happened. The ball bounces all the way through to this little wee chap here. Not sure who he is, but he scores a worldie. Basically, he puts his foot on the ball. The whole crowd shouts, shoot, and he does. And he scores a great goal into the top corner. Yes, and it does do that. Don't judge my drawing. It's definitely how the ball flies. It's not my drawing at all. So as he smashes this ball, bosh, straight into the top corner. And it's just because they're poorly marking, poorly defending, knocking the ball away into space, or knocking the ball into an area where nobody is. Oh, let's just thank you, dosh. Which is just unacceptable at this level. Let's just have a little look. Look how tight all these players are. Look at how close they all are to here. You could throw a little 10 by 10 net over most of them. They're all in this little area, in this little space here. No one's holding their shape and position, and they're just battered with this worldy goal. There's not much to really talk about on this last goal, but I'm going to go over some of the points if you're a player, things to watch. So he tries to play a pass in, this little wee chap here, tries to play a pass and it gets cut out. But one thing he does is he keeps running. 2 West Ham players that are right next to him don't. So as he keeps running, this guy tries to make a really good tackle, which he does. He does a little bit of a slide, stops the trajectory of the ball, gets it, dosh there. But because he keeps running, he changes the luck. And that's what happens. If you keep working and you keep going, you will be rewarded. I'm not saying it's easy. You're not going to get rewarded every time you're trying hard. But on the football field, if you keep working hard, you will get rewarded. And that's exactly what this guy does here. These two are casually walking because they're winning 3-1 and they're not really 4-1. They're not really that fussed. So when the ball breaks here, this little midfielder, he finds feet again. He missed the first pass, but he doesn't on the second one and gets it through to his... Now, he finds himself in a little bit of pocket of space. There's not much for him to do. He's actually... Kurt Zuma can be closer. He really can. I know this other guy's running in. I think it's Ivan Toney's running in behind him, but he can be closer here. These guys are a little bit too far apart, but it is a quick transition. It is a quick break, so you've got to give him a little bit of credit there. And then this guy just has a worldy finish and just slots the ball away. Half of me doesn't want to play it straight away just because we have to wait 1, 2, 3 seconds normally before we can check the copyright. Boom, and he slots it in and he does that. And that's where we go. West Ham scored some good goals playing classic West Ham football. I mean, it's good to see the third man running. You don't see that very often anymore at West Ham. But other than that, I'll see you next time on Cash Yells at Premier League Footballers.